We're going to read the law, Exodus, the 20th chapter. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generations of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Yes, sir. That was the covenant we just read. Let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, and we're going to pick it up at verse 13 and 14.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Yes, sir. Now let's at the last place, Revelations, the 22nd chapter. Revelations chapter 22. We're going to pick it up at verse 13 and let you know who's talking. Go ahead and read.
I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
Yes, sir. So we just completed the law. We read Exodus 21 through 17, Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13 through 14, and then we read Revelations 22, 13 through 15. Now again, the title of today's lesson is Only God Can Judge Me. That's a famous statement. Reading for you today, for those who may not know, is Brother Rob Corbin. And teaching as myself, Brother Kevin, for those who may not know me. And again, the title is Only God Can Judge Me. It's a very, very famous statement. So famous, I had to look it up. I said, let me look this up, see what it's about. Maybe I'm missing something. But there's a lesson the Lord had caused me to put together, man, some years back. It's just my third time now doing it. So we're going to read this information, Rob and I. We're going to read this information. When you get ready, my brother, go ahead and read that information.
There is a Bible verse that many people, both Christians and non-Christians, often quote. It is Matthew 7:1 NIV that says, Do not judge, or you too will be judged. This verse is one of the most quoted verses from the Bible, but also may be the most misunderstood.
Did y'all hear that? The most quoted, but also maybe the most misunderstood. And this is NIV. I ain't gonna beat them up about their version. The point is what they always say. So now let's go to the third chapter. The third page. Go ahead and read.
This really is a tragic misinterpretation of Matthew 7:1.
It's a tragic, huh? Go ahead.
There are a couple of issues with the way this verse is interpreted. First of all, it's improperly used as a biblical proof for moral relativism, or the concept that there is no universal or absolute set of moral principles.
Oh, like there's no laws, there's nothing to govern this man. So there's nothing you can say, hey, I live my life, you live yours. It's going to say that. Go ahead.
This morality can advocate to teach their own, or you do you.
Or you do you, to each their own, or you do you, right? Go ahead. Is there anything else?
Followers of this mentality will often say, who am I to judge?
He said this is what followers often say. The mentality of them is, who am I to judge? Who are you to judge me? Ain't that what they say?
Yes.
I know this is what I usually hear. So now, let's get into it and let's see if you got some more over there. Is that it? That's all I highlighted, ain't it?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So now let's see if we can find out what this actually means according to the Bible. This statement that Jesus made. It's always misunderstandings, but there's nothing wrong with getting understanding and then saying, you know what? That's something that I won't use anymore. Or if someone come up to me, I know how to enlighten them now and correct them based on what they saying. So when they said, hey, do you know what you're saying? Only God can judge me. Do you understand that? In this information, they had Tupac in the night. Y'all remember that famous song, Only God Can Judge Me Now? Which I understood his thing because I listened to his lyrics. And he was saying, listen, people don't know. They getting one side of a story. But when they won't hurt my side, they just take it through the media, blow it up and say, hey, this is what it is. But anyway, Matthew chapter 7 and verse 1. 7 and verse 1. We're just going to read that first verse. And then we're going to kind of move around a little bit. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 1. When you get it, go ahead and read.
Judge not, that ye be not judged.
So this is what they were talking about. Judge not, that ye be not judged, right? This is where they'll take you and say, look, you can't judge me. But what is Jesus talking about right here? Let's take a look at it. Let's go to Romans, the 2nd chapter first. Let's go to Romans chapter 2. Romans, the 2nd chapter. Let's let Paul weigh in on it. I always like when Paul weigh in on it, because Paul is real clever and educated according to the word of God. And he can clear up matters. People say he confusing, but he clear up just as much as he would like to confuse people, they say. He said it's the unlearned and the unstable is the ones that get confused. So it's not Paul, it's just the person that's reading their perception. So now Romans 2 and verse 1. When you get it, go ahead and read, brother.
Therefore thou art inexcusable, O man, whosoever thou art that judgest.
He said, therefore thou art inexcusable, O man, whosoever thou art that judgest. Go ahead.
For wherein thou judgest another, thou condemnest thyself,
Yes.
for thou that judgest doest the same thing.
Wait a minute. Thou that judges doeth the same things. Did y'all pick up the key statement there? When you judge, you do the exact same things that you point the finger at. And we're going to prove that. Skip down to verse 3. Let them get a little more into it. Go ahead.
And thinkest thou this, O man, that judgest them which do such things, and dost the same, that thou shalt escape the judgment of God?
Wait a minute. And thinkest this, O man, that judges them which do these things, or such things, and doest the same? He said that thou shalt escape the judgment of God. Do you think you're going to escape the judgment of God? In other words, he asked. Skip down to verse 8 and read.
But unto them that are contentious and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, indignation, and wrath,
Go ahead.
tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that doeth evil.
He said tribulation and anguish. Now I wouldn't want that to happen to nobody. Go ahead.
Of the Jew first, and also of the Gentile.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
But glory, honor, and peace to every man that worketh good, to the Jew first, and also to the Gentile.
What else he gonna say? Verse 11.
For there is no respect of persons with God.
Meaning if you do right, you're gonna get that right reward. If you do wrong, the Lord gonna give you your paycheck for wrong. He said, there's no respect of person. Skip down to verse 21 and tell me what it say.
Thou therefore which teachest another, teachest thou not thyself?
Look at that. He said, thou therefore which teaches another, don't you teach yourself? Go ahead and read.
Thou that preachest a man should not steal, dost thou steal?
See that? That's the same things in verse 1 that he was talking about. When you judge and what? So you're going to tell the man not to steal, but then you steal. That's hypocrisy. This is what the Lord pointing at. How you going to do that? That's something you got in your eye that we're going to touch on a little later. Go ahead and read 22. Yeah, 22. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thou that sayest a man should not commit adultery, dost thou commit adultery?
See that? He come back with another one. Wait, you going to tell this man, you shouldn't commit adultery, brother. But then when he go home, he commit adultery. That's the judgment you should not be judging. Go ahead and read.
Thou that abhorrest idols, dost thou commit sacrilege?
What about you, the one that worship idols? He said, do you commit sacrilege? In other words, deal with idols, sacrificing to false gods. He said, do you do those things? And when you do those things, guess what you're doing? You confirming what the Lord is telling you. Let's go back to Matthew. No, let's go to Galatians chapter 1. Because Paul finna show us something here. Galatians chapter 1. Galatians, the first chapter, and verse 1. We're going to let everybody get there. Galatians 1 and 1. Because this statement was famous. I know I never used to say it, but I always used to hear it say it. And when I used to hear it say it, I was like, man. Then when I actually read it, I'm like, yeah, it do say that. But then when you start reading it, when you eat this roll, meaning you read this whole book, and you start dealing with the Lord seriously, and you put yourself aside, and you start killing that old man, the Lord open up this thing to you. You start seeing clear. You don't need glasses. You start getting that 20/20 spiritual vision. Galatians chapter 1 and verse 1. Go ahead and read, brother.
Paul, an apostle, not of men, neither by man.
That's right.
But by Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And God the Father.
Yes.
Who raised him from the dead.
Who raised him from the dead. Skip down to verse 11. So he let us know, listen, I'm an apostle by Jesus Christ, not by man. But skip down to verse 11 and read.
But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man.
That's right. Go ahead.
For I neither received it of man, neither was I
Taught
taught it, but by the revelation of Jesus Christ.
So everything that Paul, when we just read Romans, guess who taught him? He said Jesus. So this is where he getting the understanding from. This is what that Matthew 7 is pointing to, which we're going to touch on it more and more and more till we can't touch on it no more. Skip down to verse 15 and read.
But when it pleased God, who separated me from my mother's womb and called me by his grace.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
To reveal his son in me, that I might preach him among the heathen.
Yes.
Immediately I conferred not with flesh and blood.
Who he preached them among? The heathen. It didn't say Israel. It said the heathen, right? He said, immediately I conferred not with flesh and blood. No man. Go ahead and read.
Neither went I up to Jerusalem to them which were apostles before me, but I went into Arabia and returned again unto Damascus.
Yes, sir. He said, look, I didn't go straight up to Jerusalem. I had to go into Arabia first. How long did he dwell there? Go ahead.
Then after 3 years, I went up to Jerusalem to see Peter and abode with him 15 days.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
But other of the apostles saw I none.
Yes.
Save James, the Lord's brother.
Yep, he said, except to James, the Lord's brother. Go ahead.
Now the things which I write unto you, behold, before God I lie not.
He said, everything that I write to you, behold, of God, I lie not. So what we read in Romans was a clear understanding of what he mean by judging. He said, the Lord taught me this thing. Then he said he went up directly to Jerusalem after them 3 years. He was down there being taught by who? None other than Jesus. In Arabia, we just read it. He said, I ain't lying. He said, I lie not. What's my reason of lying? Let's go to Matthew, the 7th chapter. Now we're going to pick it up at verse 2, and we're going to read on down in it. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 2. 7 and verse 2. And let's see what Jesus is talking about now. We're going to go all over the place. And then when we get back, we're going to understand what Matthew 7 talking about, and we're going to be able to educate our sisters and brothers that do that at least want to hear and acknowledge that they made mistakes by, using this thing like that. And they mainly were out there. Don't none of us say that up in here. You judging me? None of us say that. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 2. When you get it, go ahead and read, brother.
For with what judgment ye judge, you shall be judged, and with what measure you meet,
yes,
it shall be measured to you again.
Yeah, because guess what? You told that person not to commit adultery, but you did. You told that person not to steal, but you did. You told that person not to lie, but you did. Go ahead.
And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye?
Yes.
But considerest not the beam that is in thy own eye.
How you gonna tell them not to steal and you got the theft in your eye? That's the point. How you gonna tell a person not to lie, but you got that big mote of the lying in your eye? He said you gotta clear that out first. Go ahead and read.
Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote of thine eye?
Yes.
And behold, a beam is in thy own eye.
See that? Let me pull your adultery out, but I'm going to keep doing mine, though, on the side. Pharisees was good for that jump. Go ahead.
Thou hypocrite.
What he call him?
Thou hypocrite.
What's the definition of a hypocrite? One that teach one not to do something, but then they turn around and do the exact same thing. So why would he call him a hypocrite? Because we know now what he's talking about. You telling the person not to do something that you yourself continue to do. And that's wrong, according to what the Lord just said. Did we read all five? Was that it?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
First cast out the beam out of thine own eye,
Yes.
and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye.
That's why I said we'll have that 20/20 vision now. No more need for spiritual glasses. We ain't got to be stumbling in the dark. The Lord gonna guide us then, right?
Yes.
Let's go to John, the 7th chapter, because look at what Jesus is gonna say now. This will make Jesus appear to be either a hypocrite or he some type of paranoid schizophrenic or something. And we know he's neither one. That just means we needed more understanding and clarity. 7 and verse 24. We're just going to read verse 24. We at John chapter 7. John chapter 7 and verse 24. John, the 7th chapter. And then we're going to read the 24th verse. Because if he said judge not, that means don't say nothing, right?
Right.
According to the way the people use it. Just like we read it in his information, right? Mm-hmm. But watch what Jesus is finna say right here in Judges 7 and 24. Go ahead.
Judge not according to the appearance.
Judge not according to the appearance. I thought you just said judge not, lest ye be judged. He said judge not according to the appearance, but what?
But judge righteous judgment.
Oh, you got to judge righteous judgment. If you're an adulterer, you got no business telling nobody else not to commit adultery. Till you clean that up first, then you can go back and say, you know what, adultery ain't good for you, brother or sister. It's not good, right?
Right.
So this, we starting to see the Lord laying some groundwork showing us. I can't be talking about not judging at all. I'm talking about righteous judgment. Let's go to Leviticus, the 19th chapter. Leviticus chapter 19. Leviticus 19. Sound bites is what mainly we get from, and it ain't to beat up the church. Lord knows it's not that. Because every last one of us come from somewhere, somehow. We were dirt yesterday. And still is dirt. So it's not to beat up anybody. The point is to point out the errors and things that we grew up listening to. Sound bites and stuff like that. Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 1. We're going to read Leviticus 19 and verse 1, then we're going to move around a little bit. 19 and 1. Go ahead and read, brother.
And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying,
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Speak unto all the congregation of the children of Israel.
And so he's talking to all Israel here. Go ahead.
And say unto them, Ye shall be holy.
Yes.
For I, the Lord your God, am holy.
That's right. He said, I want you to be holy because I'm holy. Skip down to verse 15. Let's look at one of the things that allow us to become holy. Go ahead and read.
You shall do no unrighteousness in judgment.
Wait a minute, but you can judge. You just can't do no unrighteousness in it. Like telling somebody to do something you ain't doing it yourself. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and read.
Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor.
Oh, because what Paul say, God have no respect of persons. So what do you expect from us? To have none either. Go ahead and read.
Nor honor the person of the mighty.
No, sir. Listen, you can't respect the person because they poor. Oh, they ain't got no clothes and they ain't got no food, nowhere to stay. Some of the poor, believe it or not, I'd have been around them. Some of the meanest people. Get away from me. I don't want nothing from you. Like, whoa, I was just trying to help you. I thought you was down on your luck. And once I start noticing some of them being just as mean and want to be in that situation, I said, all right. Now I got to be careful who I'm running up on. You might get done in. Go ahead. Oh, he said, nor honor the person of the mighty. Go ahead and read.
But in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor.
That's right. But in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor. Just because he rich or got money and all the goods, he said, don't judge them because they wealthy either. Because you want a little something on the side if you down and now you feel that they don't want to deal with you. Because you showed them the truth. He said, no, don't worry about all that. I got you. Skip down to verse 17 and read.
Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart.
That's right. Go ahead.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
Wait a minute. So not to hate your brother in your heart is an example. He said, in any wise you shall rebuke thy neighbor. That means if they sin, you're obligated to go to them and rebuke them. In other words, correct them. I don't mean go yelling at nobody, fussing at them, and then find the right time. That I mean, right in front of everybody. Hey, you and I need to talk right now. Meet me in the back. Where the gloves at? Like, come on, man. Go ahead and read, bro.
And not suffer sin upon him.
And not suffer sin upon him, because guess what? If you suffer that sin upon him, blood is upon your hands too. That's why we don't want to do that. We got to be careful. We signed up for this. Now the Lord is showing us what the application and the job skill set consists of. He said, this is what you have to do now. Let's go look at somebody who was a righteous judge. 1 Samuel, the 18th chapter. He judged the matter righteously. He said, no, I don't care if you my mama, my daddy, my uncle, my cousin. I got to make sure that you ain't doing nothing that you shouldn't be doing. 1 Samuel, the 18th chapter. And believe it, I love this story. 1 Samuel, the 18th chapter, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. 1 Samuel chapter 18 and verse 1. So far, we went all around, well, to a few spots, and all we kept saying was judgment, right? Righteous, righteous, righteous. So now we're starting to understand what Jesus was talking about in Matthew, the 7th chapter. Actually, we was done with it. We could have closed the book, went on downstairs and started feasting. Speaking to each other, high five. Hey, how your day went? How was the rest of your week? You know. But we're gonna pull it out some more. 18 and verse 1. Go ahead and read, brother.
And it came to pass when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul,
yes,
that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David.
Oh, these two became real close and tight. Go ahead.
And Jonathan loved him as his own soul.
As his own soul, meaning he loved him as himself. Go ahead.
And Saul took him that day and would let him go no more home to his father's house.
Oh, he wouldn't even let him leave. Wait a minute, dude. Hold on. We need to keep you here with us. Go ahead.
Then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved him as his own soul.
Now, if you make that covenant, meaning it's agreement. We sit down, we shake hands on it. It sticks. It's this bound right there. And let somebody break it. Far be it from you that it's you that you break this covenant. Go ahead and read.
And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him.
Yes, sir. And what else?
And gave it to David and his garments, even to his sword, and to his bow, and to his girdle.
He gave him all his belongings, didn't he? Go ahead and read, brother. What else?
And David went
No, I'm sorry. Skip down to verse 9 and pick it up.
And Saul eyed David from that day and forward.
So now Saul is saying this, and what he doing? He said he eyed him. In other words, he watching him. He said, I'm going to look at you from this day forward, buddy, because I'm watching you. What's going on with you and Jonathan? But I'm going to watch. Go ahead and read, brother.
And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from God came upon Saul. And he prophesied in the midst of the house.
Wait a minute, what came upon him? An evil
spirit.
spirit. See how what happens to us when we have that spirit of I'm gonna tend to this person a certain kind of way that I shouldn't. What comes upon you after that? An evil spirit. Fast. It don't take long for God to release them. That spirit already down here. All the Lord have to do is send a word. And I mean speedily that evil spirit come right up on you in your mind. You start thinking all kind of stuff now. Go ahead and read.
And he prophesied in the midst of the house.
Yes.
And David played with his hand as at other times, and there was a javelin in Saul's hand.
What else happened?
And Saul cast a javelin, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it.
He got a javelin and he throwing it at this guy, trying to kill him. He said, I'm going to smite him even to the wall. In other words, his javelin going to go through him and hit him to the wall, and his body going to stick to it. But go ahead and read. What else?
And David avoided out of his presence twice.
Out of his presence twice. David is on the run from this guy now. He's saying, I done picked up an enemy, but from what did I do wrong? Chapter 19. Go over to chapter 19. Remember, Jonathan is like a brother to him, and that is Saul's son. And he's best friends with this guy that he's trying to kill, which is David. And the Lord has already picked David as the next king anyway. Saul already done. It's just his time is ticking. 19 and verse 1. Go ahead, brother.
And Saul spake to Jonathan his son, and to all his servants, that they should kill David.
He spoke to Saul. He spoke to Jonathan his son, and to all his servants that they should kill David. Let's see what Jonathan do. Go ahead.
But Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted much in David, and Jonathan told David, saying, Saul my father seeketh to kill thee.
He seeketh to do what?
Kill thee.
What else?
Now therefore, I pray thee, take heed to thyself until the morning, and abide in a secret place and hide thyself.
That's a friend right there. He telling you, he ain't gonna give you play by play what his father doing, so you can always escape. But there's the spirit of the Lord upon Jonathan. Go ahead and read.
And I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where thou art, and
Yes.
I will commune with my father of thee, and what I see, that I will tell thee.
Yes, sir. What verse was that?
3.
Okay, go ahead. So he said, whatever he heard from his father, he gonna commune. He gonna come and commune with him, or he commune with his father. And he said, whatever he heard, I'm coming back to tell you. I don't care what it is. Go ahead, brother.
And Jonathan spake good of David unto Saul his father.
Yep. Did he go back talking bad to him about him? No, he kept it 100, like the world say 100. He kept it real. Go ahead.
And Saul said unto him, let not the king sin against his servant, against David, because he hath not sinned against thee, and because his works have been to thee were very good.
Right, been to thee were good, very good. So he's trying to talk his father into, look, don't do this deed, man. David has been good to you this long. Go ahead and read.
For he did put his life in his hand.
Yes.
And slew the Philistines.
Yep.
And the Lord wrought a great salvation for all Israel.
He said, just remember what happened a few weeks ago, or a month, or whatever the time frame was. He said, just remember back when he put his life on the line. He fought this whole Philistine, Goliath, and then the rest of them Philistines left and ran. He said, he ain't have to do that. Go ahead and read.
Thou sawest it, and didst rejoice.
You was rejoicing like everybody else. Go ahead.
Wherefore then wilt thou sin against innocent blood?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
To slay David without a cause.
That's how you deal with a matter when this is righteous judgment, and this is you rebuking, showing love unto somebody that you love. You rebuking your father. A person can do that. You can rebuke your parents and children and so on and so forth. He's doing it right there. And he's using righteous judgment behind it. He said, why would you do this? Go ahead and read, brother. We're going to read on down to 7.
And Saul hearkened unto the voice of Jonathan.
He listened, didn't he? Go ahead.
And Saul sware, as the Lord liveth, he shall not be slain.
Oh, now he swore, as the Lord liveth, he shall not be slain, meaning killed. Go ahead.
And Jonathan called David, and Jonathan showed him all those things. And Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he was in his presence as in times past.
He brought him back now. Everything is cool. He done made them. He was the peacemaker between the two, his father and his best friend. Y'all see that?
Yeah.
These are the examples we're supposed to deal with right here. Let's go to Matthew, the 5th chapter. Matthew chapter 5. Because this guy did it. He put his life on the line and said, look, I'm going to stand in the gap. I don't care who it is for. But I know one thing, the God of Israel that we serve, we got to be righteous like him. Sometimes we have a little fear and may not want to go to a person we know that's close to us that's wrong, but you got to do what you got to do. That's it, and that is all. If you lose them, so be it. You got to get your crown. That's what you're here for. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 20. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 20 plus Ezekiel the 18th chapter tell us what? All souls belong to God. So that person don't belong to you no way. He created all the children. He allowed the ones to come through the womb. He allowed them to breathe breath. So hey, what can we say? Nothing. 5 and verse 20. We're just gonna read one verse, verse 20. Let's see what Jesus is gonna say here to the disciples. Go ahead.
For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Wait a minute, your righteousness have to exceed what, brother?
Righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees.
Oh, we need to find out what that consists of then. He said, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven if your righteousness don't exceed theirs. And as far as I'm concerned, the stuff that I done read, I know we got a great shot to exceed our righteousness, to exceed what these guys was doing. Let's go over to the 23rd chapter and take a look at it and investigate this. Now, they had all kind of knowledge. They were in the land. They were close knit. We ain't got none of that. We born in captivity. We had to get raised up eating government cheese. Y'all know how I go. Government cheese and all that wick. They didn't have to deal with none of that at the time. Yeah, that government cheese, grilled cheese, boy. One of the best sandwiches you ever had. Matthew chapter 23. And pick it up at verse 1. Matthew chapter 23 and 1. Let's look at the scribes and Pharisees and let's see how they are. Go ahead.
Then spake Jesus to the multitude and to his disciples.
Yes, sir.
Saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat.
Yes, sir. What else?
All therefore whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do.
Yes.
But do not ye after their works.
Yes.
For they say and do not.
Oh, he said they teaching all this great stuff. He said, listen, they teaching you the right thing, the law. He said, but don't do nothing. Don't do after their works. Why? He said, because they say and do not. Everything they teaching you, they ain't doing it. That sounds like some sound advice to me. Skip down to verse 23. Verse 23 and read. Let's see what he called them. Go ahead.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you pay tithe of mint and anise and cumin,
Yes.
and have omitted the weightier matters of the law.
What they do with the weightier matters of the law? Omitted them. In other words, they put it to the side, pretending like it didn't exist. Let me put this on top of that. The weightier matters don't exist no more. Go ahead.
Judgment, mercy, and faith.
Judgment, mercy, and faith. What they were supposed to do with that? Go ahead.
These ought ye to have done, and not to leave the other undone.
But did they do that? Let's go see. Let's go to John the 8th chapter. No, they didn't do it. He said you were supposed to have some mercy when you were supposed to. Not on just the people you knew or know. Here go a woman can't fend for herself. Thank God Jesus was there, boy, because she would have been dead. John the 8th chapter, pick it up at verse 1. Because he said that they say and do not, they omitted the weightier matters of the law. Mercy, judgment, and all those different things. He said they not dealing with none of those things. And let's look at an example of it. Because here they come and they gonna tempt him. John chapter 8 and verse 1. Go ahead and read, brother.
Jesus went unto the Mount of Olives.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And early in the morning, he came again into the temple, and all the people came unto him. And he sat down and taught them.
He did what? Taught them? He ain't do no other. You know, all that slapping them on the head, running around chairs, and he ain't do none of that stuff. Go ahead and read.
And the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery.
Who did? The scribes and Pharisees. He said, except our righteousness exceed theirs. Let's look at what they doing. Go ahead.
And when they had set her in the midst, they say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned, but what sayest thou?
Now, the law do say that, but this one person. How do one person commit adultery like that? There's no way now you insulting God's intelligence now. Go ahead and read. Let's see what he say.
This they said, tempting him that they might have to accuse him.
See that? This thing is always a motive. Go ahead.
But Jesus stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground as though he heard them not.
Sometimes you got to do that to people. Ignore that foolishness. You know it's a loaded question. I done did it many times. Said something. All right. Well, let me keep on chilling. What? I can't get a rise out of it? No. That's a loaded question. Why you coming to me with that? Go ahead and read.
So when they had continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her.
Oh, and now he done threw judgment out there and said, listen, whichever one of you is without sin, throw the first stone. Let's see what they do. Go ahead.
And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground.
He started back writing again, said, let me get back to my writing. I got a lesson planned here. Go ahead.
And they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience.
What?
Being convicted by their own conscience.
He said he ain't do nothing. They convicted. Their minds convicted themselves. Go ahead and read.
Went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even unto the last.
Yes, sir. One by one, didn't it? One sliding out the door. The eldest to the last. Let me go first, bro. You just stay still. Go ahead and read.
And Jesus was left alone, and a woman standing in the midst.
Yes, sir. And what happened?
When Jesus had lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers? Hath no man condemned thee?
Have no man condemned thee? What he say? What she say after that?
She said, No man, Lord. And Jesus said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more.
So she did sin, but they just showing unrighteous judgment. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Leviticus, the 20th chapter, where the law actually said it, because they said the law says it. Said Moses said. Let's go see what Moses said by the mouth of Jesus Christ, who they standing right there playing games with. The 20th chapter, and we're going to pick it up at verse 10. We're going to read one verse. Let's see what the law say. Got one woman, nobody else. Boy, that's pitiful. No, not pitiful. They ought to be ashamed of themselves for that to be written about them in a book. 20 and verse 10. Go ahead and read, brother.
And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife.
Oh, two people, right? Go ahead.
Even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife.
Go ahead.
The adulterer and the adulteress shall.
Wait a minute, the adulterer and the adulteress. Where the man at in that case? He was gone. Matter of fact, he may have been standing there and just didn't say nothing. He probably was the eldest that slid out first. Told them, y'all stay here in case he come after me. Did the Michael Jackson backslide before Michael Jackson even came up with it. Go ahead and read, brother.
And the adulteress shall surely be put to death.
And they didn't do that. They didn't show righteous judgment. See, this is what Jesus is talking about right here. Right. If you're going to do it, don't halfway do it. Do it according to the book. As it is written. Let's go to Galatians, the second chapter. Galatians chapter 2. Shame, boy, shame. Galatians chapter 2. And we're going to look at Paul dealing with him with Peter. And then not only Peter, but Barnabas and the rest of them heard too. And Paul was by himself with the judgment, but he said, oh, yeah, I don't care about all that. I'll deal with you. Acts chapter 2 and verse 11. Go ahead and read, brother. Galatians, I'm sorry. Thank y'all. Galatians chapter 2. I'm looking at my book and I'm looking at Acts. Galatians 2 and verse 11. Go ahead.
But when Peter was come to Antioch, I withstood him to the face, because he was to be blamed.
Why? Go ahead.
For before that certain came from James, he did eat with the Gentiles.
Yes, sir.
But when they were come, he withdrew and separated himself.
Yes.
Fearing them which were of the circumcision.
Oh, he fearing Israel. And that's the one thing the Lord tells you cannot have is a spirit of fear. Go ahead and read.
And the other Jews disassembled likewise with him.
Yes, sir. What else happened?
Insomuch that Barnabas also was carried away with their dissimulation.
Yes, sir. What else?
But when I saw that they walked not uprightly according to the truth of the gospel, I said unto Peter before them all, if thou, being a Jew, livest after the manner of Gentiles, and not as do the Jews, why compellest thou the Gentiles to live as do the Jews?
See that? So what are you doing then? What's your whole purpose? You teaching them to live according to the law, to live righteously. But then when Israel come, you want to jump up and you afraid of them. Especially Peter. Peter should know better. Come on now. He had all that mouth. He cut off the soldier ear for messing with Jesus. But this let you know that Israel always will gang up on you, make you scared. But then when it's time for us to go after the nations and the Lord tell us he with us, we shook. Come on, man. Did you read already? You read verse 14, right?
Yes.
Let's go to Acts the 7th chapter now. Acts chapter 7. So right there, what'd he do? He called Peter on it. Whether you got the keys of the kingdom or not, I gotta put you in your place, bro. Because I love you. Did y'all hear Peter saying, man, who you think you talking to? I walked with Jesus. You didn't. No. He stood corrected. I'm sure he was convicted, went repented, and said, you know what? I ain't gonna do that no more, man. Especially now that Paul around. That's one vicious cat right there, boy. He don't care who around. He gonna call you on it. Acts chapter 7, 23. 7 and verse 23. When you get it, my brother, go ahead and read.
And when he was full 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel.
Go ahead.
And seeing one of them suffer wrong, he defended him and avenged him that he was oppressed and smote the Egyptians.
He's talking about Moses. If we would have read verse 22, then y'all would have saw that. But he's talking about Moses when he was full 40 years old. It came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel. He defended his brethren and avenged them. Go ahead and read.
For he supposed his brethren would have understood how that God by his hand would deliver them, but they understood not.
Look at that. He said, wait a minute, I know they gonna know, but they didn't understand. Go ahead and read.
And the next day he showed himself unto them as they strove, and would have set them at one again, saying, Sirs, ye are brethren, why do ye wrong one to another?
He said, you're brethren, why do you wrong one to another? Go ahead.
But he that did his neighbor wrong thrust him away, saying, Who made thee a ruler and a judge over us?
Wait a minute now. He correcting them and letting them know what y'all fighting for. Y'all supposed to be brethren. Then he thrust them away. You know what thrust mean? Push. Shove you. Man, get away from him. Who made you judge and rule over us? Nobody but God, bro. I love my neighbor as myself. I'm telling you the truth. I'm asking you what y'all fighting for. This thing can be resolved. Go ahead and read.
Wilt thou kill me as thou didst the Egyptians yesterday?
This dude ain't done. He said, wait, will you kill me as you did the Egyptian yesterday? He let it out. I know your business. Israel always know the lowdown, don't they? I saw it. I saw what you did, mister. But do y'all see how he gonna pull that on him instead of being thankful that the man came and he had to kill the Egyptian for the Egyptian trying to kill his people? Who made you rule over us? Let's go to 2 Samuel, the 12th chapter. Every situation we go to, we see that our people are always the problem. They look, man, you ain't my authority. And this one right here is really a nail biter. 2 Samuel chapter 12, this is a nail biter right here. With none other than King David. So right here, I'm just going to say, be careful of who you do pass judgment on or speak on or condemn, because you just never know. 2 Samuel chapter 12 and verse 1. 2 Samuel chapter 12 and verse 1. When you get it, my brother, go ahead and read.
And the Lord sent Nathan unto David, and he came unto him, and said unto him, There were two men in one city, the one rich and the other poor. The rich man had exceeding many flocks and herds,
Yes.
but the poor man had nothing, save one little ewe lamb, which he had bought and nursed up.
Yes.
And it grew up together with him and with his children. It did eat of his own meat and drank of his own cup and lay in his bosom. It was unto him as a daughter.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And there came a traveler unto the rich man, and he spared to take of his own flock and of his own herd to dress for the wayfaring man that was coming to him, but took the poor man's lamb and dressed it for the man that was come to him.
Oh, so he telling them, David, about it. Look at what this man did. He's giving them a breakdown analogy or something, right? Go ahead and read.
And David's anger was greatly kindled against the man.
Yes, sir.
And he said to Nathan, as the Lord liveth, that man that hath done this thing shall surely die.
Look at him. He opened up his mouth and said, the man that done this thing shall surely die. Let's see. Go ahead.
And he shall restore the lamb fourfold, because he did this thing, and because he had no pity.
See me? I'm going to type to hold my tongue for a minute and say, what's the other side of the story? Where the witness at? Let me hold my tongue before I say anything else. See, I need to know all the facts first. I need to know both sides. If I don't know both sides, it ain't going to do me no good. That's one side of judgment. The Lord don't deal with that. I come from a place where we used to do that and turn up homes, families. And I'm glad the Lord brought me up out of that crap.
Right.
Go ahead and read, brother. What else?
And Nathan said to David, thou art that man.
You are what?
Thou art the man.
You the same man you cast that judgment upon right there. And David had no clue. He was running his mouth saying, yep. And he needs to restore sevenfold for this. See, God don't have no respect of person. Even though David was a man after his own heart, he still laid judgment at his feet. Go ahead and read. What else he said?
Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, I anointed thee king over Israel, and I delivered thee out of the hand of Saul.
I did this. Skip down to verse 9, brother, and read.
Wherefore hast thou despised the commandment of the Lord?
Yes.
To do evil in his sight.
Yes.
Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword.
You killed, that means murder first, right?
Yes.
Go ahead and read.
And hast taken his wife to be thine wife.
Oh, go ahead.
And hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon.
He said, so you're going to set it up. First, you took his wife, you committed adultery. Then when she got pregnant and she had a child, you try to send the man on home and tell him, hey, go on lay with your lady. That is Israel if that ain't nobody else. Put this baby off on somebody, on the husband. You was tired. You was at that war. And look what you got, baby. You got a baby boy. Not knowing it's David way down the road, child. But the Lord said, I'm going to expose this matter. Go ahead and read.
Now, therefore, the sword shall never depart from thine house.
Shall what?
Never depart.
He said never. So guess what? Some of us might be descendants and that sword might still be in our house, and we wonder why. Why is this thing won't leave? Every time I turn around, I get slapped for something. You just never know. Think about it, though. It's just something to think about. Go ahead.
Because thou hast despised me and hast taken thy wife of Uriah the Hittite to be thy wife.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up evil against thee out of thine own house.
That's right. This is what I'm going to do to you. Go ahead.
And I will take thy wives before thine eyes.
Yes.
And give them unto thy neighbor.
Yes.
And he shall lie with thy wives in the sight of this son.
Of this son, he said, I'm going to give him to him, and they going to lay with him. And the sight of this son, meaning everybody going to see this thing. It's going to be in broad daylight. What you may have done in the dark, he said, I'm going to make sure it happened to you in the daylight.
Yes, yes, yes.
You're going to be stung by this. Go ahead and read.
For thou didst it secretly,
Yes,
but I will do this thing before all Israel
yes,
and before the sun.
yes, sir. Go ahead.
And David said unto Nathan, I have sinned against the Lord.
Yep.
And Nathan said unto David, the Lord also hath put away thy sin.
Oh, the Lord forgave you. He put away that sin. But some judgment is coming down. No, he want that fat, don't he?
Yes.
He gonna collect that fat. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not die.
You ain't gonna die though. I'm gonna leave you alive, but that sword gonna be in your house. Some of the times you're gonna wish you was dead. But you're not gonna die. You're gonna live to see this, brother. Go ahead.
Howbeit, because this deed thou hast given great occasion to the enemies of the Lord to blaspheme.
Yes, sir.
The child also that is born unto thee shall surely die.
Even that child that's born of you shall surely do what, brother?
Surely die.
And the child died too. Then he turned around and had another child with her because he couldn't put her away once Uriah, the Hittite, was dead. So he did what? He had Solomon by her. Man, this is Israel, boy. We soap opera and drama, hey, like none other. This is why Jerry Springer called us to his show. Hey, I got you some free body wash. A limo ride. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 1. Bring your story over here. Let me get some ratings and get rich. Deuteronomy chapter 1. See, that's the judgment right there that you cannot have. He was talking about what the man should did that was wrong and how he condemned him. He said, well, you that man. Because you had great sin. You touched something that was precious unto another man. That was his woman, dude. Okay, how beautiful she was to you. So now, Deuteronomy chapter 1, my drink right there. My drink he wants you to give me. You could have came over. Don't be camera shy, brother. Deuteronomy chapter 1. Deuteronomy chapter 1, we're going to pick it up at verse 6 and we're going to skip. But do y'all see how this thing is unfolding?
Yes.
So now Deuteronomy chapter 1 and verse 6. And then we're going to skip. Go ahead.
The Lord our God spake unto us in Horeb, saying, You have dwelt long enough in this mountain.
You dwelt long enough in this mountain, right? Skip down to verse 9. Go ahead.
And I spake unto you at that time, saying, I am not able to bear you myself alone.
Yes. Go ahead.
The Lord your God hath multiplied you, and behold, you are this day as the stars of heaven for multitude.
Now Moses said, wait a minute, y'all done got so great and big. Wait a minute. Oh, no, I don't think I can handle this. Y'all done become as the stars of heaven for multitude. Go ahead and read. They keep having babies. Go ahead.
The Lord God of your fathers make you 1,000 times so many more as ye are, and bless you as he has promised you.
Yes, indeed. Go ahead.
How can I myself alone bear your cumbrance and your burden and your strife?
Look at it. That's what we bring, ain't it? We bring that cumbrance, we bring that burden, and we bring strife. He said, how can I myself alone bear this? Go ahead.
Take you wise men and understanding and known among your tribes, and I will make them rulers over you.
Yes, sir. Skip down to verse 15 and let's see how you gonna do that. Go ahead.
So I took the chief of your tribes, wise men and unknown, and made them heads over you.
Wait, wise men and known. So these, if you're gonna deal with somebody that's gonna help you rule this thing and make sure it's in order, they gotta be wise men. They gotta be like, they gotta fear the Lord. Go ahead and known. Go ahead.
And captains over hundreds.
Yes.
And captains over 50s.
Yes.
and captains over 10,
Yes.
and officers among your tribes.
Now, if you see brothers out here teaching, a lot of them will go by this before they will say pastor or deacon, elder. They won't say none of that. They be talking about I'm a captain or I'm a officer over 1,000, and I'm like, ain't even 1,000 of y'all in y'all building. How you an officer over that? I know, because we used to practice that. We sitting in school desk and ain't number 10, about 5, 10, 20 of us, and I'm a captain over 15. That's everybody. How does brother captain over 20? I mean, the stuff that we do. Go ahead and read, brother. What else?
And I charge your judges at that time, saying, hear the causes between your brethren, and judge righteously between every man.
And do what, brother? And judge righteously between every man and who?
And his brother. And the stranger that is with him.
He did not lead a stranger out, because we like to beat up on a stranger too now. It's real good for that. Go ahead and read, brother.
You shall not respect persons in judgment.
No, sir.
But you shall hear the small as well as the great.
That's right, brother. What else?
You shall not be afraid of the face of man.
Go ahead.
For the judgment is God's.
It is. Go ahead.
And the cause that is too hard for you,
yes,
bring it unto me.
Go ahead.
And I will hear it.
Bring it unto me and I will hear it. Go ahead.
And I commanded you at the time all the things which you shall do. Which
you should do. So now the Lord set up some order so that way this thing can be dispensed, and everybody that's out there. Now we got this even playing field. This thing can be managed well. I'm talking about the people. It ain't, the burden is not laid upon one man to complete this task, which is to judge Israel. The Lord said, I got you some help now. And guess what? It's come all the way down to Jesus in them time. Let's go to Luke, the 22nd chapter. Luke chapter 22. The Lord is about that righteous judgment. So somebody come along and tell you, only God can judge me. Wait. Which one? That's one of them trick questions you throw at them. Which one? What you mean, which one? Which God? Because there's plenty of them in his family. And when we get through, we're going to show you it's going to be plenty of them judging too. Luke chapter 22, and pick it up at verse 1. Here go the feast day come up. 22 and 1. Go ahead and read.
Now the feast of unleavened bread drew nigh.
Yes.
Which is called the Passover.
Go ahead.
And the chief priests and scribes sought how they might kill him, for they feared the people.
So they afraid of the people. So they trying to figure out a way. Go ahead.
Then entered Satan into Judas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12. So now
Satan has jumped in his mind, and now he playing with this guy's heart, right? We see that he didn't jump in there. So not inside of his body, but he playing with his head now. Skip down to verse 23. But Judas has to allow that to be happening. Why? Because he have to entertain him. And then Satan can come in there. Other than that, you can be rebuking Satan all day and he got to go. Hit him with that word. This cat got to bounce. He can't just mess with your mind unless the Lord tell him and overpower you. But the Lord don't do that, not unless he's trying to get a point across. But 23, skip down to verse 23 and read that.
And they began to inquire among themselves, which of them it was that should do this thing.
Get closer to your mic, Rob. Go ahead.
And there was also a strife among them, which of them should be accounted the greatest.
Yes, sir. So now it's a strife amongst them, and what they striving about. Which one of us gonna be the greatest in the kingdom? Go ahead.
And he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them.
That's right.
and they that exercise authority upon them are called benefactors.
And we ain't got nothing to do with this. Skip down to verse 28 and read.
Ye are they which have continued with me in my temptation.
All y'all that's with me, he said, you have continued with me in my temptations. So what I got for you? Go ahead.
And I appoint unto you a kingdom as my Father hath appointed unto me.
What? He said, I got a kingdom for you, even as my Father had appointed unto me. So I'm going to share something with you. Go ahead and read verse 30.
That you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and
Yes.
sit on thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
Wait a minute. He said, you're going to sit on my table judging the 12 tribes, right? He said they're going to be sitting on 12 thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. So if you say only God can judge you, what about these individuals? Somebody skipped this verse, didn't they? They skipped this whole chapter. Because there's more than one God right there. Yeah. If you're going to do some judging, let's go to Psalm chapter 122, because he said, in his kingdom, right? Psalm 122, and that ain't up in the sky. They don't understand that the ball game is going to be on the earth. This is where all the partying going to be, down here. This is where the fight is. The Lord didn't create this earth so man can just do what he want to do, and then he going to stay up there and allow you to pillage and, hurt people and rob the poor and do all that. No. The Lord said, no, I ain't for all that. Psalm 122, and pick it up at verse 3, brother. 122 and verse 3. When you get it, go ahead and read.
Jerusalem is built as a city that is compact together.
Wait a minute, Jerusalem is building, huh? He said, now, this is talking future tense. He said, Jerusalem is building as a city that is compacted together. What else? Go ahead.
Whether the tribes go up, the tribes of the Lord, unto the testimony of Israel.
To give what?
To give thanks unto the name of the Lord.
Yes, sir, for what's going to happen up there. Go ahead.
For there are set thrones of judgment.
Wait a minute, there are what?
Set thrones of judgment.
Set thrones of judgment. If it's set already, that means, guess what? The Lord already know where everybody is going to go. Once you drop in that dirt, they already decided if your name is in that book or if it's not. You going in that dirt already? If you going in that lake of fire, or if you going to go in the kingdom. They know once you go to sleep. That's why we're supposed to make the best out of it right now. This is the trying field. We have been proven right here on this earth. He's trying to see if we can discipline ourselves to become what we were supposed to and be able to handle this job. He said, you gotta overcome a lot to get this job right here. This ain't for the weak right here. So now, let's move forward. That was verse 5, right?
Yeah.
Let's go to Revelations, the 20th chapter. Let's get a witness now. Revelations chapter 20. Last book of the Bible. He said, man, set thrones of judgment. Woo-wee. Lord said, I already got it in my mind. Once you hit that dirt, where you going? Did I vouch to the Father for you or against you? Revelation 20, and pick it up at verse 4. When you get it, go ahead and read, brother.
And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them.
How many? He saw thrones, plural, not one. He saw thrones, as in more than one. Go ahead.
And judgment was given unto them.
We know who some of them are. 12 of them is the apostles he just showed us, right?
Yes.
Go ahead and read.
And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus.
So wait, they even got judgment coming. What's one person we know that's very famous in this Bible that was beheaded and that's going to wake up and have judgment? John the Baptist. John the Baptist was beheaded for the word's sake. He went and simply told Herodias them about sleeping with his with his brother's wife, and then guess what? This woman was upset about that, and she waited for her opportunity, simply because he said the law said you can't do that. That's unlawful. Can't tell me what to do. Can't tell me what to say. So when it was time, she wanted John the Baptist's head on a platter. She used her daughter. Her daughter went and did it. And guess what? Herod felt bad for that. Because Herod feared John the Baptist. But go ahead and read, brother.
And for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads.
Oh, they got down to us, didn't it? Because we the ones that's going to deal with the mark part. That's in our generation. And letting us know that we even get a taste of the pie. Go ahead and read.
Or in their hands.
Or in your hands. They talking about putting it in your right hand. Go ahead.
And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years.
How long, brother?
1,000 years.
Yes, indeed. That's a day to Jesus, though. He said, ain't never one day it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But to us, 1,000 years, because that's how we count. Two different miles. Go ahead.
But the rest of the dead lived not again until 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection.
So you still got people that's going to be still sleeping at ground until this first resurrection is over with. And until that judgment right there, where the Lord setting up the earth and got his soldiers out there, us. I like to put myself in there too, y'all too. You know what I'm saying? Now go ahead and read. What else?
But the rest did live not again till 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection.
6.
Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection.
We're holy and blessed and we have part in the first resurrection. That's why I ain't trying to do no gambling. You don't shake the dice. Let me see if I roll crap out. No, I ain't for all that. I want the first part. I want it now. What's that commercial? That's my money and I need it now, or something like that. Ain't that the way the commercial go? That's my money and I need it now. J.G. Whitworth. That's it. Go ahead, brother.
On such the second death hath no power.
Yes, indeed. Go ahead.
But they shall be priests of God.
Yes.
And of Christ. And shall reign with him 1,000 years.
That's right. We just seen it again, didn't we? We got more judges than we can manage. The Lord said, I want all kind of judges. John chapter 5, because guess what? It's going to be a great time when it happens. Who's going to be the ultimate judge? Let's go look and see. Father said, hey, I'm going to leave that into somebody's hands. Let's see who. John chapter 5, which is righteous on his part. Let's look at the righteous judgment that the Father even got. Because guess what? We could have said, you know what? You don't know what it's like to be in his flesh, man. You don't know what it's like to have to walk around and, have all these thoughts and, desire all these different things. You don't know what it's like. And guess what? God couldn't argue with you. He would have to understand that and deal with it. So guess what he did? He dotted all his I's and crossed all his T's.
Yes, he did.
Jesus, you go. How they come up with it? Well, Jehovah was his name at the time, or the word of God. You go. How they come up with which one was going to go? I don't know. I just know one of them had to come down. And it just so happened to be the one called the Word. So now, John chapter 5 and verse 21. 5 and verse 21. When you get it, go ahead and read.
For as the Father raised up the dead and quickeneth them, even so the Son quickeneth him who he will.
Wait a minute. He said, so the Father raised up the dead and quickened them. He said, even so the Son quickeneth whom he will. Meaning bring alive. That's what quicken means. Go ahead.
For the Father judgeth no man,
He don't judge no man. Wait a minute. The Father don't? Go ahead and read.
but hath committed all judgment unto the Son.
Oh, that's why it says in Psalm chapter 2 and 12 that you better kiss the Son. That's the one you better kiss. See, we ain't paying attention. We've been hoodwinked, bamboozled. People run around, Abba, Father, not saying that you should not give honor to him. But I'm saying you're looking at the wrong one who's going to judge you. You need to be kissing Jesus' butt. Say, hey, what do I need to do? He going to tell you, hey, look, watch what I did. Walk in that word. I'm going to open up that mind and I'm going to teach you. I'm going to come in and sup with you, meaning have dinner spiritually. Go ahead and read.
That all men should honor the Son,
Yes, sir.
even as they honor the Father.
He said, I want you to honor the Son even as you honor the Father. Go ahead.
He that honoreth not the Son,
Uh-huh.
honoreth not the Father which hath sent him.
Because you got some people that only believe in the Old Testament. He said the ones that only believe in one God, just the Father, and don't believe in Jesus, he said, you in trouble. You got to honor both of them. They come as a package deal. You can't have one without the other. They already cut themselves off at the knees. Half cup versus a full cup. Who gonna get thirsty quicker? What verse was that?
That was end of 23.
Go ahead and read.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me hath everlasting life,
Yes, sir.
and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life.
Yes, sir. He talking about us. Go ahead and read.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of God, and they that hear shall live.
Talking about us right now. If you in here and you don't have them ears to hear right now, but now you hear it because of what you saying, and you like, Daddy, I heard the voice of Jesus coming out. He said, now you shall live. In other words, you finna start tasting what life really tastes like. Go ahead and read, brother. What else?
For as the Father hath life in himself, so hath he given to the Son to have life in himself,
Go ahead, one more.
and hath given him authority to execute judgment also, because
Yes.
he is the Son of Man.
Oh, he giving him authority to execute judgment also because he is who? The Son of Man. He walked on. So we can't tell Jesus that you ain't walk a mile in my shoes. That's why John in 15 chapter told you he took your cloak away. And cloak mean excuse. You can't say, you don't know how I feel, Jesus. I was a little weak. He gonna say, yes, I do 33 and a half years of it. And plus some. Because I've been with this creation a long time, putting up with their foolishness. And you talking about pain, boy, you ain't felt none. They talking about Emmett Till and what his face looked like. Or anybody that was tore up. The book tell you Jesus' image and his face was marred, his visage was marred more than any man. That guess what that does? That covered any man on the face of this earth. Nobody got beat as bad as he did. So what you think he coming back for? To play? No, when they say a lion is coming, a lion don't play. Jesus said, all right, it's all good. I was a sheep at that time. He said, but when I come back, I'm roaring. And you better be on the right side. Let's go to 2 Corinthians. Be on the right side of this thing. 2 Corinthians chapter 5. And the book is always clear as to what it's talking about. Now we understand what judgment he's talking about. Okay, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, we're going to read 2 verses. We're going to read 10 and 11. 10 and 11. When you get it, my brother, go ahead and read.
For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ.
We must all appear before what, brother?
The judgment seat of Christ.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
That everyone may receive the things done in his body.
So it just told us we're going to do the judging, didn't it? Go ahead.
According to that he hath done.
Yes.
Whether it be good or bad.
Ain't that what Paul said? He said, if you did good, you're gonna get your reward. If you done evil, he said you're gonna get your reward. That's Romans the 2nd chapter. We read that earlier. He said Jesus taught him that, and if he did, what? He's still quoting it right now. And we saw John say the same thing. Everybody on one accord. How is it in the last days we don't know nothing about the book? Because everybody gone. Listen. Everybody is about money now. Lust and money, nothing else. Read verse 11. What else he say, brother?
Knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men, but we are made manifest unto God. We persuade men, but we are made manifest unto God. Go ahead. And I trust also are made manifest in your conscience. Oh, so we know the terror. We better go make sure that we persuade people, at least the ones that want to hear it. Because all you have to do is tell them one time the blood off your hands. But the one that want to hear it, hey, persuade them as much as you possibly can. Yeah. No, that ain't what it say. This is what it said. Like, okay, you got some time, right? All right, let's go over here. Let's go over there. We're going to go back and forth, deal with this thing. That's persuading them. And then the book tell you, let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. So I'm just going to show you, and I'm going to back up. The rest is up to you to believe what you read. So now, Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 14. Which is one of the laws we read earlier, or the commandments we read earlier. Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 14. 12 and verse 14. All this got to do with judgment and righteous judgment. Lord said, I'm coming back and I'm going to make sure everything is on one accord. Ecclesiastes 12 and 14. When you get it, go ahead and read that, brother. For God shall bring every work into judgment. So when he say for God right there, who he talking about? Jesus. So how come people got a problem with Jesus being called God? He just said it. For when God, it's letting you know which one it's talking about. And the Godhead, God, the word God comes from the Hebrew word Elohim. That's a family or a team. More than one member in that family and team, right? So right now it's only 2. Then it's going to be plenty that come, but go ahead and read. With every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. And we understand why God is Jesus, because the Father said, I gave it over to him to do. He got whooped, beat on. The Father even came down and saw it too with his own eyes. And say, yeah, okay. I understand now. I thought y'all would reverence my son, but okay. You made me a lawyer too, huh? Got you. It's all good. When that time comes, where can you go? Isaiah the 11th chapter. Not because he want to be a terrorist. He's trying to save people. We keep
shooing him away from us. No, go. We don't want that. I want to do what I've been doing, Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving and all this other stuff. I want to continue to do these things. The stuff that's connected to, or let me say it this way, the things that's connected to God's idols. Because some things are not. 4th of July, what is it connected to? What God y'all know about 4th of July? Don't nobody know what God came from 4th of July or came, Those are civil days. What about Memorial Day? Labor Day? All civil. Then you got brothers that's so holy, no, you ain't supposed to keep none of the heathen ways. But you driving down the street, that's a heathen way, right? Get out that car, get you a bike. Matter of fact, don't get a bike because that's a heathen way too. Go get you a horse or a donkey, mule, something. But don't pick nothing up and don't go inside that house either because that's a heathen way. How about get you a tent, put it out in the wilderness somewhere. Then you still got to go to the Gentile and make sure you pay taxes on that land or he going to come throw you off with your tent. I got rights. Yeah, hey, as long as you move it on, mister. They got their vests, they sidearms, they like, keep it moving. You will be a casualty out here on this road. Yep, they sure will. Isaiah chapter 11, pick it up at verse 1, brother. Go ahead and read.
And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots.
Yes, sir. Who is this talking about? We're going to find out. Go ahead.
And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him.
Yes.
The Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
And shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord.
Yes.
And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears.
He ain't got to work. He ain't got to hear a matter or see a matter. He gonna know it. He can read your mind, whether you did or didn't do it. He don't need to hear nothing. Go ahead and read.
But with righteousness shall be judged the poor.
But he gonna judge with righteousness too, though, right? Yes, sir. Go ahead, bro.
And reprove with equity for the meek of the earth.
Yes, indeed. Go ahead.
And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth.
This is Jesus Christ. Go ahead.
And with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked.
Go ahead and read.
And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins. And faithfulness the girdle of his reins.
Okay, what verse was that? 5. Okay, that's it. So we see, but with righteousness, he shall judge the poor. He gonna deal with all these things. And when it says that he said he gonna smite the earth with the rod of his mouth and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. In other words, when he started descent and he telling them angels to kill, and you too with the two-edged sword in your hand, what you think you gonna do? Kill. That's what he gonna say. Kill him. All that blood up on his garment. That many bodies gonna get killed in front of him. That is something else, man. I can't even though it's in the book, your mind can't even grasp that thought. Let's go to Matthew the 8th chapter. We ain't far from closing out. Matthew the 8th chapter. The Lord said, man, y'all just don't know. When I get through, people gonna wish that they understood. They're gonna be looking for a Bible to read. And it's gonna be too late. You can't say time out. Give me a drink of Gatorade, water. Hey, can you let the fan blow on me real quick? Something. The Lord say him and his angels gonna watch you talk. He gonna watch the torment of you day and night forever. He said that a smoke is gonna ascend up. Who wants to sit there and watch it? Then you in your right mind, you gonna be in your right mind, your conscience, and you gonna know what you've done all the years. That's punishment right there. Then he said, we're weeping and what? Gnashing of teeth. Let's look at it. Matthew chapter 8, pick it up at verse 28. Matthew chapter 8 and verse 28. Well, we will in a minute, but Matthew chapter 28 and Matthew chapter 8 and verse 28. Let's look at something else now. Go ahead and read, brother.
And when he was come to the other side, into the country of
The
Gergesenes,
Gergesenes, yep.
there met him two possessed with devils,
Yes, sir.
coming out of the tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by that way.
Go ahead.
And behold, they cried out, saying, what have we to do with thee, Jesus?
Now they cried out saying, what have we to do with thee? Jesus who? Go ahead.
Thou Son of God,
Go ahead and read.
art thou come hither to torment us before thy time?
So the unclean angels already know what they're gonna be, what's gonna happen to them. Whether he said what they gonna say. They said, are you come before our time to torment us? So they already know what's gonna happen. We getting tormented. But go ahead and read.
And there was a good way off from them, and a herd of many swine feeding. So the devils besought him, saying, if thou cast us out, suffer us to go away into the herd of swine.
Look now, they just said, listen, allow us to go away into what? The herd of swine. Go ahead and read.
And he said unto them, go. And when thou wert come out, they went into the herd of swine, and behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea, and perished in the waters.
Now I don't know why, but they showed picked the swine to run into, unclean animal. Kind of let you know what you're dealing with, the unclean spirits, right? But now let's go to 1 Corinthians, the 6th chapter, because we already know that we gonna be judged. I think we dealt with this last week too. 1 Corinthians, the 6th chapter. We read some of this last week. 1 Corinthians 6 and verse 1. First Corinthians 6 and verse 1. Now watch what Paul say here, which is going to allow you to know that you're a part of this thing. 6 and verse 1. Go ahead and read.
Dare any of you, having a matter against another, go to law before the unjust and not before the saints?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Do ye not know that the saints judge the world?
Wait, the saints going to do what, brother?
Judge the world.
That's where them thrones are at. Go ahead.
And if the world shall be judged by you, are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters?
Right. Then why shouldn't you be able to judge the smallest matters? Go ahead.
Know ye not that we shall judge angels?
Wait a minute, just like Jesus did, and they ask you where you come from, right? Go ahead and read.
How much more things that pertain to this life? How
much more pertain to what? This life. What did Jesus? Let's go take a look at something. Let's go to First Peter chapter 3. Remember these angels, right? He said that we was gonna judge them. Jesus was asked by the angel, the unclean angels, are you come to torment us before our time, right? So they know what time it is. They know their judgment. But let's see when Jesus went back to heaven, what happened. First Peter, the 3rd chapter, we're going to pick it up at verse 22. First Peter chapter 3 and verse 22. This is the very last verse of this 3rd chapter. And read verse 22. Tell me what it say, brother.
who is gone unto heaven,
Who is gone into heaven? This is Jesus Christ. And the verse before it, I'll tell you that, but go ahead and read.
and is on the right hand of God.
Wait a minute, he on the right hand of God. What happened? Go ahead.
Angels and authorities and powers being made subject unto him.
Wait a minute, angels, they got to become subject unto him again? Yes. He got his same seat that he had before he got down here. In John the 17th chapter, he said, Father, give me the glory that I had before the world was, before the world was. He was asking to be right back where he was. Then he tell you in Paul will tell you in Philippians the 2nd chapter, he told him, he said, listen, man, he thought it not robbery to be equal with God when he was in God form, when he was in the body of God. In other words, when he had that immortal body, before the Father put on him a flesh and blood body and sent him through Mary. It's hard for some people to believe. If you stick around, we'll show you that lesson. It's all written in her, where he took the body and everything, put it right through her, sent that angel that way, get that baby. We'll show you that one day. You just got to keep coming. So now we see that angels, authorities, and powers being made what? Subject unto him. Let's go to Matthew 28 chapter. Matthew chapter 28. What did he say to them when he came about that ground? He told Jesus something when he came about that ground. And Jesus finna tell the disciples something. But Jesus knew this before he went in the ground. But now he finna share it with the apostles so they can understand. Matthew chapter 28 and verse 16. Just notice what he finna get, something finna happen here. Matthew 28 and 16. Go ahead and read, brother.
Then the 11 disciples went away into Galilee, into a mountain where Jesus had appointed them.
Why is 11? Because Judas Iscariot killed himself already. Go ahead.
And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted.
They worshipped him, but some of them doubted. Go ahead.
And Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth.
Wait a minute, how absolute is all?
Absolute.
He said all power. And that's why we read 1 Peter 3 first, to show you when he went up there, it said angels, powers, and authorities being made subject unto him. Go ahead and read.
Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost.
Let's go to Romans the 8th chapter, because we just wanted to show him that. Look, he said that all power was given unto him, right? Let's go to Romans the 8th chapter. Show you your reward. This right here might knock the dust off our pockets and make us go ahead and get on our job. So you know what? Now I want to do some work for the Lord. Chapter 8 and verse 14. We're going to pick it up at Romans chapter 8 and verse 14. And I mean dust off your pocket. You know how you hit some jeans and you see that dust fly off somebody? Like, good. Oh, your microphone. Pick it up. I'm sorry. Okay. So now, thank you, bro. Romans 8 and verse 14. Go ahead and read, brother.
For as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God.
Oh, so if we led by the words of God, we are who?
The sons of God.
Yes. And it says, whatever your father is, you are what he is, right?
Yes.
So if he God, what are you?
God.
Simple as that. Go ahead and read.
For ye have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear,
That's right. Go ahead.
but ye have received the spirit of adoption,
Go ahead.
whereby we cry, Abba, Father.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit
Yes.
that we are the children of God.
The word, it bear witness, don't it say it?
Yes.
Go ahead and read.
And if children, then heirs.
Wait, so if we children, then we're heirs, but too, that means we got an inheritance. Whoa. You mean I got some money coming? Uh-oh. I want that, some power. I want that. Go ahead and read.
Heirs of God and joint heirs with Christ.
Wait a minute, heirs of God, meaning the Father, and then he said heirs, joint heirs with Christ. Meaning you're going to get exactly what Jesus got. When you saw him go up, the book told us angels, authorities, subjects, powers being made subject unto him. Ain't that what it said?
Yes.
So that's what you get. Nothing more and nothing less. The book said it. We got to believe what we read. Go ahead, brother. What else to say?
If so be that we suffer with him.
Yes, sir. We got to suffer with him though. See, it's an if there. If you keep your stead and you suffer with him like he did, and remain faithful in the end. Go ahead.
That we may be also glorified together.
That we also may be glorified together, all of us, rejoicing. You talking about a roar so loud that the earth itself can't even bear it. Go ahead and read, brother.
For I reckon that sufferings of this present time.
No, I'm sorry. Skip down to verse 29. Verse 29, what Jesus do? Go ahead.
For whom he did foreknow,
yes,
he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his son.
How did he foreknow us? Because they had the plan to create us in their image, after their likeness. Why was we made after their kind? Because they had to take time. It was a process. But the kind is in a book. I found it. Go ahead and read.
That he might be the firstborn among many brethren.
Oh, that he might be the firstborn among what, brother?
Many brethren.
Oh, so he your big brother now. And the big brother is sharing his and what? Inheritance with us. Yes, sir. He got many brethren he's trying to bring unto him. When we talk about brethren, we talk about the women too. They being brought in. Ain't no sex then. Ain't no nationality other than you, God. Other than what he tell us later that we don't know nothing about. He might have some stuff that we'll understand then and be able to comprehend, but right now we dirt, and we can only comprehend as much as he give us. Let's go to Psalm, the 9th chapter. Psalm chapter 9, and we got a few more after this. Psalm chapter 9. Yeah, you got a reward. Don't let nobody cheat you out of it. Don't let nobody talk you out of it. Don't let them steal your crown. The Lord told you guard that at all times because it's precious. And the only person that's going to regret it in the end is you if you drop it. You can't do the Eve. Hey, it was the serpent that beguiled me. Gonna be like too late because the serpent is right where you at. Oh, matter of fact, let me take you where the serpent at. Hello? That's what you get. Psalm 9 and verse 7, brother. Go ahead and read.
But the Lord shall endure forever.
Yes, sir.
He has prepared his throne for judgment.
He has prepared his throne for what, brother?
For judgment.
He shall endure forever. You can't remove him. He has prepared his throne for judgment. It's coming. You can't stop it. Go ahead and read.
And he shall judge the world in righteousness.
What? Go ahead.
He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness.
In uprightness. That's right, brother. Skip down to verse 16. What else he gonna do?
The Lord is known by the judgment which he executed.
Yes.
The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands.
The wicked is snared in the workers of their own hands. Lord said, I ain't trip you up. You just didn't take heed to the calling when I was calling everybody. I bid admitted to the wedding. You told me, hey, wait, I'm busy. I got some stuff to do. I got some land over here I got to go take care of. I'll be back. Lord like said, what, you going to put me land? Okay, got you. Your land is your inheritance. You better have fun with it now. Go ahead and read.
Hagarion Selah. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God.
Wait a minute. They're going to be turned into what, brother? Hell. He said, and all the nations that will do what? Forget God. Pretend like he don't exist. Skip down to verse 19. What else he say?
Arise, O Lord, let not man prevail.
That's right. He told him, arise, O Lord, let not man prevail. Go ahead.
Let the heathen be judged in thy sight.
He said, let the heathen be judged in your sight. That's Israel included if he found naked, which he is. Let's go to Revelations chapter 19. Revelations chapter 19. Yeah, he gonna be found naked. Revelations chapter 19 and verse 2. I mean, it's all in a psalm. David talking about it. Jesus all in Psalm by the mouth of David talking about it. Talking about how him and the Father communicated. It's all in there. We just got to get in there and turn that night light on and find it. Show the Lord we worthy of this thing. Revelation chapter 19 and verse 2. 19 and verse 2, then we're going to skip. Go ahead and read, brother.
For true and righteous are his judgments.
Yes.
For he hath judged the great whore.
Yes.
Which did corrupt the earth with her fornication.
Yes.
And hath avenged the blood of his servants at her hand.
Yes. He said, this is who we dealing with, right? He said, for true and righteous are his judgments. For he hath judged the great whore. Who's that? That is none other than Rome, who running this earth right now. Japhet seed. Skip down to verse 11 and read, brother.
And I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse.
So the heavens is rolled back like a scroll. And he see a white horse. What else, brother? Go ahead.
And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True.
Yes.
And in righteousness he doth judge and make war.
I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Hey, one day I had a vision on a hot summer day. And this is no lie. I went outside to sit on the front on a hot summer day. And I looked up there because I like looking up at that sun and get a little bit of a kiss from it. And I saw what I'm reading right here. It's almost like I just seen it went blank. Like I could look directly at the sun. And it's almost like it dimmed a little. And I saw a whole, you know how you see the movie 300 or something like that. And you see all these soldiers, everybody geared up, everybody muscular, and they got their weapons of war. And like I saw that whole thing that I'm reading about right there. Guess what I did, Buster? You went right back in the house. Went straight to the bathroom and turned the light out and start praying to the Lord. Because I was scared of what I saw. Then he had me going right back to the Israel of God. Get back on that website and see what you're missing. Because I didn't know much. And then I saw that and I was like, oh man. So then when I saw Bowie and them read it, I said, man, it was right there the whole time. And I thought, I didn't know what I was seeing. That's why he said, your young man shall see visions and dream dreams, young men and daughters. Just see dreams. See visions and dreams. Go ahead and read, brother. What else?
His eyes were as a flame of fire.
Yes, sir.
And on his head were many crowns.
And not because he was drunk like some of these people be saying. He drank a lot of wine. That's why his eyes was red. No. Go ahead and read.
And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself.
So if he had a name written that no man knew, why people fighting over what his name is today? The book say Jesus, that's what we roll with. He said that's the name that he gave under the sun. He said that the Gentiles gonna call him the greatest name on the face of the earth, right? So now 2 Timothy 4, and then we got one more after this. 2 Timothy chapter 4. 2 Timothy chapter 4, and then we got one more. See, the Lord laying all of it out. I bust that you fast, peon. Then I was scared because the light was off. Turned the light on because I felt like a presence was around me or something. Said, I hope you don't be mad because I'm, praying with the light on. Laying it over the sink like this. Hit that light switch quick. Pete made sure the light was on, went back down. No lie. 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 1. 4 and verse 1. When you get it, my brother, go ahead and read that, and then we're going to skip.
I charge thee, therefore, before God and the Lord Jesus Christ, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing.
He going to judge the living and the dead at his appearing. That means it's going to be people living when he come, y'all. Everybody ain't going to be dead. That's why he says it's going to be a first resurrection and a second. Then there's going to be people who are living already, which is going to be us. I pray to God. I grabbed Bowie's thing. He said he going to be around. I said, I ain't know we can ask for stuff like that. That's what I want. And I started putting that in my prayer. And I said, Lord, keep me around as healthy as possible in my right mind, still doing your work until you return, and keep harm from me, as well as the rest of the body of Jesus Christ, the ones I know and don't know. See, you got to include everybody. You can't be selfish. If you about you, God is like, all right. But go ahead and read what else it say.
And his kingdom.
And his kingdom, because he's going to set his kingdom up when he get down here. Skip down to verse 7, brother. What it say?
Preach the word. Be instant in season.
That's verse 7.
Oh, 7.
Go ahead. Take your time. A thing that messed up or it didn't. It's all good, brother. So we had 2 Timothy, everybody, chapter 4. We read verse 1, and now we're going to read verse 7 through 8. And then we're going to go to our last spot. Second Timothy chapter 4. And that's a new Bible too, boy. It's going to be a minute before he find out. I can see the crispiness in that one. It ain't beat up like this. Yeah, brother, come on with it. Want me to find it for you real fast? Let me see. It's all good, brother. 2 Timothy we're looking for, right? Here we go. Chapter 4, and now we have verse 7 and 8 right there. 7 and 8. Read verse 7. What does it say?
I have fought a good fight.
Yes.
I have finished my course.
This is Paul. He said, I fought a good fight. I finished my course. Go ahead.
I have kept the faith.
I kept the faith. What else?
Henceforth, there is laid upon for me a crown of righteousness.
There is laid upon for me a crown of righteousness, Go ahead.
Which the Lord, the righteous judge,
Yes.
shall give me at that day.
At what?
At that day.
At that day when he returned. Not because ain't nobody going up to heaven. The book says, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Didn't say in earth. I mean in heaven. We're going to come up there and everything going to be just desolate down there. No, I didn't say that. Go ahead.
And not to me only, but unto all them also that love his appearing.
He said, not to me only. See, I ain't going to exclude everybody. I ain't just going to keep this to me. He said, I'm talking about everybody that love his appearing to. He said, everybody got a crown coming and love his appearing. Let's go to 1 Corinthians, the 4th chapter. 1 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 5. 1 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 5. Somebody want to come stop this beeping? First Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 5. That means we went over. Yes, sir. 4 and verse 5. When you get it, my brother, read that. Just that one verse. That's all we need. Go ahead.
Therefore judge nothing before the time.
He said, therefore judge nothing before the time. Go ahead.
Until the Lord comes.
Until the Lord comes. Don't judge. Don't be thinking you already got it made. Judge nothing before the time until the Lord comes. Go ahead.
Who both will bring to light the hidden things.
Yes.
Of darkness.
Yes, sir.
And will make manifest the counsels of the heart.
He gonna make manifest what you got in your heart. What's your agenda? What you got on your mind? What was you thinking all this time? And against who? Go ahead and read, bro.
And then shall every man have praise of God.
Then shall every man have praise of God when he found out that, guess what? I'm one of the innocent ones. Hey, you got your own problem, partner. I ain't got nothing to do with that. So now, only God can judge me. We understand that statement is false. Or we understand that statement is not false. We understand the meaning that they use it in is false. But we understand what he mean now, right? So I hope y'all got something from the lesson, and I thank you for your time. Now we're going to have the announcement.